What's going on, guys? Alec here from Oz Fury Gaming. Today I'm here to talk about the Pioneer and the Q&A that's come along with it. If you're unaware of what the Q&A is, basically they get a huge amount of questions from the community on the forums, and they basically answer them as best they can. So, for start us off with, how large can an outpost be? Well, it's 48 meters by 48 meters by 5 meters tall. Now, to talk about later, there is no double-decker base building, so don't get your hopes up for that. Next thing is, can the Pioneer build hangars to store ships in our bases? Okay, so there will be landing pads, and they say a bit further down that you can build decent sized landing pads because you can't build anything bigger than what the ship's confines is, but you can build multiple sections of a landing pad. Now, you won't be able to store your ships there, and it's not going to be like a big hangar like, for example, Revel in York or the Southland facility, and it's not going to be anything like what Port Olisar is either. The last one on this list is, can we use the Pioneer to build outposts on asteroids? Now, there's basically yes, but so you can build it on the asteroid as long as it's smooth enough, it's large enough, and it's all that sort of business. But the best way to describe it, really, from what I've got from this whole Q&A, is it's like building a house. Use some common sense about where you want to place it. Next couple of questions are, can placed outposts be moved by the Pioneer? Well, yeah, but you've got to pull it apart. You can't pick it up as a big hole and move it. You've got to put it back into a card pile and get it going. Next one, can the Pioneer build space stations? No, it's only designed for terrestrial structures, so, your outposts. Pretty simple stuff, really. Next questions follow what I was really, really interested in, and that's the claim license, which basically allows for you to claim a certain piece of land on any planet. And they said they want it to be 1 by 1 pixel on that map, so that equals between somewhere from 4 by 4Ks to 8 by 8Ks, which is actually huge when you think about it. Now, that claim license will only allow you to claim in certain areas. Like, you can't claim next to a big city or a military base. You can't cut off specific things. So, for example, if there's like a mission there that, I don't know, that's like a starting mission perhaps, and you build there and you just start setting up all these defenses, so you just start killing all the noobs coming across, then you can't do that. So they're going to develop a system that allows you to only claim certain places. So for those who are hoping to be trolls, bad luck for you. Next thing is, will we need to move the Pioneer each time we want to put a new module? And at first I was a bit confused by the question, but then I understand what the answer was about. And what they mean is, by simply, do you want to place, if you've got the base modules there, do you need to move the Pioneer every time, you want to place another module? Or does it, like a big conveyor line, does it keep pushing it out? And yes, you do need to move the Pioneer. It will move it to a specific location in front of the manufacturing spot, but until when there's no more space, you do have to pack it up. The pilot has to move it and re-land it. On the note of structures, let's talk about anti-air defense and other defenses. So the Pioneer cannot build these defenses. It's only about building the structure, so the walls, roof, supporting foundations, the floors, all that sort of business. But you will be able to add static defenses, so your anti-air, your anti-personnel, anti-vehicle defenses on there. But you'll need to go to a store, like as if you're buying a flight suit or buying weapons for your ship, and cargo it down and place it on there. Next thing, can Pioneer build structures larger than its internal space? Like I was talking about before, no. The confines of the Pioneer, which is 200 meters long, like it's a massive ship, is what you can build in, but you can build sections and then tack them together and build a bigger area. So if you want like a massive, I don't know, you want to build a basketball and a tennis court in the same thing for some reason, you can just build sections of it and put it all together and away you go. So pretty good stuff. Really good answers, by the way, for this section. I really feel like they've taken the time to understand what people are wanting. Anyway, next questions. What happens to outposts built with the Pioneer when the player who created them is logged out of the game? Now, like I talked about before, the game is a space sim, and when you build these outposts, they're like your house, right? So if you build in a bad neighborhood where there's lots of pirates and there's not much police action, then you will be attacked even by the AI. Even if there's no players around, the AI will actually come and loot you and do that sort of stuff. So when you build it and you claim land, don't go, I'm going to go to the far outskirts, or I'm going to go to Vandal Space and build it, because chances are it's going to be destroyed when you come back, right? So that's the persistence, and it's the responsibility that you take when you build there. Right, so the next question is a bit easier. Can the Pioneer use the refined material made by the Orion or any other refining ship or mining ship? Yes, but and as long as the thing you're building uses those materials, like if you're building a wall and it needs concrete and you're trying to put titanium into it, well, it's not going to really work. You know what I'm saying? So, next thing on, will the Pioneer have any other functionality, career options besides outpost manufacturing? No, this is a dedicated ship for building outposts. Like the Crucible is for repairing ships, it's the same thing. Dedicated, cell-minded, linear, finish. Right. Can the Pioneer make the add-ons like solar panels, landing pads, generators, blah, blah, blah? Well, like we talked before, they can build landing pads and things like that, but your solar panels, generators, anything that has like a power source or a functionality besides just being a wall or floor or roof, you will have to go and buy. Same with, like we said, with static defenses. So I imagine too, if you want to get refineries, like, for mining stuff and then refining it inside the base, you'll need to go buy that, cargo it down. So the Gemini or a Caterpillar will be handy here, especially because such as the Hull C, and those large ships can't actually go into atmosphere when they're fully ladened. The next set of questions brings us across, is it possible for Pioneer to build outposts on rough terrain like slopes, or does the ground have to be flat? Now, this is a good question because we saw in the ATV when the outposts are placed, they can actually be up on fairly high terrain and they'll build staircases up to them and things like that. And no, you can't. The area where the Pioneer has to land has to be relatively flat, and so does where the outpost being built has to be relatively flat. Pretty self-explanatory, really. Will the Pioneer be able to build tall buildings or stackable modules? No, like I said before, no double-decker outposts, none of this, real multi-story things going on. But there will be options for modular outposts to have add-ons, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Last question, how much time does it take to deploy an outpost? Or how long is a piece of string? So it's all scalable to what you're building and how large it is and all of that sort of business. Alright, so the last two questions. Will we be able to spawn ships at our outpost? No. There's a huge system that goes along with spawning ships, saving ships, calling them up and all of that sort of business. So you're not going to be able to do that there. And the last question, the Pioneer contains 3 utility slots. Well, actually, hold up a second, that was an error. Now, in my opinion, that's a little bit poor on CIG's part. I understand they've got a lot going on, but if you're taking people's money, especially at a high value cost, where it's not like, oh, okay, it's $100, I'll put that back in the store credit and I'll buy something else. No, this is, $825 USD. That's including the Australian GST. So when I convert that from Australian to US dollar, it's about $1,100 Australian. That's a lot of money if I wanted to buy that ship, which is just virtual. So I do think that maybe a bit more care should be taken when you're putting these out. Like, for example, with the updated ship matrix, some of the things aren't correct. And especially with the ship sale coming up, I think they really want to get that right because it's just going to cause a lot more controversy and people are going to be hurting from it. Alright, that's my 2 cents done. So let's talk about the value of the ship. So like I said, there's $825 USD there. There's 253 left available. Now, personally, I would like to pick it up, but I'm going to be buying it in-game simply to see what the mechanics are like. This is still alpha, this is still early. We're not sure what's going on with all these mechanics. So personally, for a ship of this value, I would hold back. Same with any capital ship. Great in theory, but guys, please think about what you're doing with your cash because it's quite an expensive buy. And if you go, I actually don't like it, it's a lot of cash tied up in a ship. Like, yes, you can get a store credit and buy other things, but it is what it is. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video and got out of it what you wanted. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, dislike if you didn't, and a comment if you want to talk about what's been going on. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I really appreciate your support. Hope to catch you guys around the verse. Toodaloo.